Hi, I'm Sonya White Jaguar. Welcome to White Jaguar Weekend Read, my weekly audiobook series. Today I'm reading the conclusion of Alan Rickman on Love, a channeled commentary. Romantic love. I said, so many people are looking for their soulmate, a compatible partner they can grow old with. Can we talk about relationships? What advice do you have on this subject? Alan said, romantic partnerships. I have a few things to say about this. It does involve compromise. This is very important. Don't bother getting involved with someone if you're not ready or able to see another's point of view and engage in compromise. My greatest piece of advice would be to listen. Listen hard to your partner, friends, work associates, and the like. Really listen. Listen before you get married. Listen before you take a job somewhere and you have to work with someone. Your heart will tell you what you need to know. Know what you want when you enter into a partnership with someone. If it doesn't work out down the road, you will be far less disappointed. If, for example, you want to focus on your career and not have children, at least not for a while, then be clear about that to yourself and to your mate. If your partner has different goals and doesn't verbalize them or doesn't have goals, you can talk about that and make goals together. Treat your partner as your best friend. Really work at it as a friendship to start with. Then you'll have a foundation that you can build anything on top of, a career, a family, and keep expanding together instead of waking up one day 20 years later and realizing you've grown apart. I know how that feels. I knew many people that had happened to. Romantic love, if you can find it in your life, is a wonderful thing. It can rob you of your senses or bring you to your senses if you use it wisely. I see people stumbling from one relationship to another. I've found the one, and then it's over. And then a new one. This time it's real. I know it is. And on it goes. We never learn. I guess we need the disappointment to help us grow. Otherwise, why bother? It's all so senseless on the face of it. My experience was very different. Someone to lean on for support, I had that. Someone I could count on to bail me out of a jam, yes. I had lots of friends and close confidants. The love I had gave me strength. I was a poetic man, but I don't know that I was much of a romantic. Not really. Not all that dashing stuff you see in the movies or romance novels. My love life was not a romance novel, but I got what I needed from it. Don't let anyone tell you what a relationship is supposed to look like. I got tired of hearing that myself in this life. Don't bother with it. You're here to live your life first and foremost. Be you. No one walks in your shoes but you. Be true to yourself and your needs and wants, and you'll find the person who's the right fit for you. It may take time. Sometimes it takes a few tries. There's no magic solution here, but you'll know with experience when it's right. If you can connect with someone heart to heart, you've found the key to compatibility. You may not always see eye to eye, as no two people are going to see things the same way. But you'll have open communication and a lot of common ground. That's the best way to start a relationship. Love in the higher dimension. Alan said, now I'd like to talk about love as I've known it here. There is a love of the universe that is beyond ordinary experience. That love lies at the core of our being, sleeping in many, too many, in my opinion. This is the answer. People must awaken that love at the core of their being. That is the entryway to the higher dimension. In fact, that is the higher dimension. First, I want to tell you how hard it is to talk about love in the higher dimension. It isn't the same for us here as it is for you in your dimension. Our experience of love is like being in a bus depot where every destination is love. There are no alternate destinations. In other words, there's no escaping love. It follows you everywhere. If you think you can outsmart it, outmaneuver it, or leave it, no way. I can't get away from it if I try. Believe it or not, I have tried. I wanted to quit being a spirit guide about 6 or 7 times. I was told there was no way out but through. This is difficult, demanding work, but most rewarding and helpful to others. I see that now. I won't stop. I know that won't help me or anyone. I want to tell you how I operate as a guide. I feel the heart of every soul I work with, everyone really, but I try to focus only on the ones I'm working with, as that's much easier on my soul. But I can connect with anyone I choose. I choose wisely. Let me tell you how it works. I do it through love. I think about the person I'm connecting with. Then there's a download of sorts, like a compendium of knowledge that is available to me about that person, their key lifetimes, their goals, their lessons, people they are going to meet, overarching themes, and the like. You get the idea. I know ahead of time what their aim is and what my duty is. It's all quite clear from the first moment. But then comes the hard part. It is all about lessons. Lessons in consciousness and lessons about love. I'm teaching how love works and how love guides us all. Sometimes it takes us a long time to get the lesson, many lifetimes or more. Or not. It depends on the soul, how hard they work, and what they want to achieve from moment to moment and life to life. I said, so what do you do exactly to help souls get this lesson? Can you give me more detail? Alan said, yes, I look for signposts and other guide information buried in your incarnation. I said, do you mean you look for signs, like we do when we ask for guidance? Alan said, exactly right. I see what the person needs and help them get their aims achieved. I said, you make it sound simple. Alan said, it's hard. I said, I bet. Since you're talking about what it's like to be a guide and helping people in this manner, can I ask if there are things we can do to make your job easier? Alan said, I appreciate that question, thank you. There are ways to make my work easier all around. I like knowing in advance certain things. If people grant me permission early on to look at their life from a guide's perspective, I can do more. If all they do is ask for my help to heal a wound or find a job or the like, it's much harder. When I can see the lesson or lessons that person is working on, it's much less difficult. Grant me permission to see the lessons for your incarnation, and I can go much deeper as a healer and guide. Now I'd like to return to what I was talking about earlier. In that love at the center of the being lies the love of the universe and the answer to your problems. Pure and simple. You have problems because of a lack of that love. I feel that love here. It's difficult to explain, but I'll try. Imagine being on another plane of existence where there are no wars or disease. You still have a body and work to do, but it's not the same as when you're in a physical body. It feels like a fire burning inside the soul. It's within and yet also all around. There is no separation between you, your surroundings, and that fire. I said, it sounds kind of like Reiki energy. Alan said, precisely. Reiki took me to a higher level. It really did. What a fool I had been. I had not worked on my consciousness in this life as you have been doing. It's a tragedy. I said, I don't see it that way. You're working on it now. Alan said, yes, but I could be further along now than I was in that life. It held me back a bit. I said, how so? How did you miss the mark as Alan Rickman? Alan said, I was always flitting to and fro, always making decisions on my own. I never stopped to ask God for direction the way you do. I said, you shouldn't compare yourself to me or anyone else in that regard. I chose to live a spiritual life. I love it, and I'm committed to it. When you were here, you had a different path. Alan said, everyone can go within and ask for guidance. It has nothing to do with what path you're on. I could have had the assistance, and I chose not to engage with it. I never bothered. I knew it was there, that door was open to me, but I closed it. That was my greatest loss in that lifetime. I wanted to, but never opened my heart to the universe as you have done. I said, so what can people do to open their heart to the love of the universe? How can people avoid the mistake that you made? Alan said, listen to yourself. Listen to the books you read, the TV shows you watch, the messages you tell yourself. Listen hard and long. Listen like your life depends on it, because it does. Listen to how those things help you along your path and hinder you. Listen until you no longer hear any messages for you. That's when you'll know you're ready to move on from those experiences you've been clinging to. You won't want to look back afterward. I see that now. All is clear to me now in the higher dimension. I know where I went wrong. I said, it seems as if you're talking about intuition, following your intuition. Alan said, intuition is part of it. People don't always trust their intuition, and sometimes intuition is wrong. That's because that love at the center is not activated first. This is how you can learn to trust your intuition. Activate that love at the heart of your being first. Then your intuition will flow, and you will be guided by the universe, quite literally. You won't be steered wrong. I said, it all comes back to love. Alan said, that's my point, exactly. I said, so tell me more about this love, this burning in the heart and all around. How do people activate it? And how will they know when they have? Because this can look like a purely intellectual exercise to the average person. Alan said, I completely understand. That's why I didn't do it while I was in the physical world. It was all too intellectual for me. I was an intellectual man, and I processed my thoughts and emotions on that level for the most part. Most people do, by the way. Embracing the love I'm talking about requires complete and utter surrender. That is very difficult to do. I said, yes, that's the feminine principle, or yin energy. Instead of pushing or thinking in our head, which is the masculine principle, or yang energy, we must yield and allow and feel in our body. Feminine energy in our culture is still badly out of balance, as we know. Alan said, exactly. I understand this now more than you know. I know how to heal the imbalance. I'm working on it now. It's far beyond mere physical expressions as male and female. What we see going on in the world is the outcome, not the root cause. I see this very profoundly. I recommend sitting in meditation and finding a profound state of bliss. No talking, no rationalizing, no listening to music even. That is a distraction. In life, I loved listening to music, but I realize now how distracting that is, at least for the purpose of engaging the heart. You want to listen to the heart, not music per se. No intermediary force, if you understand my meaning. I said, I can hear the average person saying, but I can't meditate. When I sit still, I just hear my racing thoughts. What do you recommend for this person? Because I hear it a lot from those in the spiritual community, and I empathize. Alan said, good question. The key is to look at those racing thoughts as they come up and tell them they don't matter, not in the higher reality where I am, for example. When you sit in silence in this manner, you enter the higher dimension. Your inner world is the higher dimension. I can't impress this point on you strongly enough. You carry the higher dimension with you wherever you go. It is your light and your compass. Your thoughts are a distraction. Now I call them devilish thoughts, because so often our thoughts are rooted in errancy. Listen to your thoughts and ask yourself, who is doing the thinking? Who is thinking those thoughts? Meditate on that for a while. Then the breakthrough will occur. You may never silence those thoughts. It's near impossible to do so. You cannot stop your mind from thinking. But you can go behind the thinking mind, and that's what I'm encouraging you to do. That's where the heart lies. That's where universal love is. It will meet you halfway, so to speak, but you have to go within to touch it. I said, could we also say that universal love is outside us, out in the world, waiting for us, in simple acts of kindness, a smile, a generous donation, and so forth? Alan said, absolutely. That is universal love and expression. It is my sincerest hope that if people touch it and activate it inside themselves, then it will be expressed outwardly in acts of kindness. That's the whole idea. One leads to the other, and then you will live in that dimension where love is always the answer. I said, thank you, Alan. This was a wonderful discussion. You've given me a lot to consider. I'm sure readers will appreciate it too. I'd love to channel more books about other subjects in the future. Alan said, my pleasure. Let's do it again. Okay, join me next time for Writing Alan Rickman's Autobiography, a fan fiction romance. I was inspired to write the story after reading madly deeply The Diaries of Alan Rickman. Because I'd been unfamiliar with the actor prior to his death, I wanted to explore what it might have been like to meet the living Alan Rickman and step into his world. I endeavored to capture his personality as best I could. Although the story is fictional, many passages contain channeled material that Alan wrote with me. So Alan himself has kindly shared wisdom, advice, and insight into his former life. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and you'll be notified when the next video is posted. You can also sign up for my newsletter on my website, SonyaWhiteJaguar.com, and get notified that way. I send out newsletters twice a month. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.